مشاهدينا في كل مكان اهلا بيكم. احنا معاكم النهارده في ضيافه سعاده السفير الدكتور اكسل وابنهورست سفير دوله استراليا لدى جمهوريه مصر العربيه، عن ابرز المحطات الدبلوماسيه لسعاده السفير وعن طبيعه وعادات وتقاليد الشعب الاسترالي، بالاضافه الى غيرها من الموضوعات الخاصه بدوله استراليا. هيكون هذا اللقاء، فابقوا معنا وتابعونا. مشاهدينا في كل مكان، بيسعدنا ان يكون في ضيافتنا اليوم سعاده السفير الدكتور اكسل وابنهورست سفير دوله استراليا لدى جمهوريه مصر العربيه. Your Excellency, please first allow me to thank you so much for this interview.
You're most welcome.
At the beginning, we would like to know, and all the Egyptians, of course, they would like to know more about your diplomatic stations before coming here to Egypt. So, can we start with this?
So my very first diplomatic station was 6 months in Iraq in 2004, and then I had long-term postings to Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Qatar before I came to Egypt.
Oh, it's all in the Middle East area.
All in the Middle East, that's right.
Did you find any changes from one country to the other, or they were all almost similar in dealing with the people and the countries?
They're all extremely different, and I always try, when I arrive in a new post, to try and learn as much about the country as possible and not assume I know very much about it. So it's about keeping an open mind and learning about the country and enjoying it, and I can assure you they are all very different.
I knew that you already learned High Arabic. Your Excellency learned already High Arabic. So how did you learn it and where exactly?
So I learned High Arabic first with a teacher in Australia, and then I had 1 year in Jordan learning Arabic at the University of Jordan.
Your Excellency, can you tell us more about the geographic nature of Australia?
Australia is a continent. It's the world's smallest continent, but also the biggest island, and it has very many different climate zones. So in the north it's tropical, in the center we have the desert, maybe a little bit like Egypt, in the south it's temperate, a little bit like maybe southern Europe, for example. So there are many different climate zones, and that means for a great variety of geographic features, and of course a great diversity in our agriculture, in our wildlife, and in the lifestyles of the people as well.
If I ask Your Excellency about, for example, the economic sector in Australia, what distinguishes this sector?
So Australia has quite a diverse economy. It's an economy that is featuring the mining industry. The mining industry is our biggest export sector. It's where most of our export revenue comes from. We also are very strong in services, so tourism and banking and education and health. We are one of the strongest countries in those fields. And also we're very strong in agriculture. A country
what kind of crops? Because we have, as Your Excellency mentioned before, diverse atmospheres.
That's right. So we have, we grow wheat, we grow beef, lamb, all kinds of vegetables. With our climate zones, we can grow fruit and vegetables from the tropics to the dry country to the temperate climate, and we export a lot because we produce more than we eat. So agriculture is extremely important for us. We have a country with a size of only 27 million people, and for a whole continent this is not very much. That means we have a lot of land for agriculture, and our farms are generally very big by international standards.
Your Excellency, what if we want to talk about the Australian peoples? I would like to know more about their traditions and customs, and if they have certain handcrafts that distinguish them.
So Australia is a very diverse country. Australia has a European history that began in 1788, and before that the Aboriginal people lived in Australia for thousands of years, for about 65,000 years. It's a very ancient culture. They have their artworks, their way of life. They lived in the landscape amongst the animals. They hunted, and they told their stories of the creation of the landscape to their children, and this culture was passed down. So these days the culture is manifested in the artworks. We have a very rich artwork scene in Australia that is very, very strongly influenced by the Aboriginal people. We have, since 1788, had immigration from all the countries in the world, including Egypt, of course. But it's a very diverse country. People bring their traditions with them. So it's multi-religious, multi-ethnic, people not only from Europe. There are 1 million people from China, 1 million people from India approximately, and still it's an English-speaking country, so that's what brings everyone together, the English language and our constitution, and respect for our diversity and people's opinions.
If I asked Your Excellency about the most important tourist destination in Australia, what will you say?
So Sydney is probably the number one because it has, it's the biggest city, it's where a lot of planes arrive. It has a very beautiful harbour with the Opera House, a very distinctive building, and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And it's also our most diverse city, with people from many different countries on Earth. But we also have Uluru, which is the big red rock in the centre of Australia. It features in a lot of photos of Australia. It's a very dry landscape, and then the red rock appears almost out of nowhere. So there is also the Great Barrier Reef, the biggest reef in the world. It's about 1,000 kilometers long, and it's a great place for diving, like the reefs here in Egypt. We have tropical rainforests, also in the north of Australia, with a very, very lush forests indeed. We have wetlands in the north where there are crocodiles and all kinds of bird life. We have dolphins, we have whale watching along the east and west coast. We have great beaches. Anywhere you go in Australia, we have wonderful beaches where people like to relax. We have a lot of other very interesting cities. Melbourne is the cultural capital of Australia, and the Gold Coast is another tourist destination with great shopping, a beach, restaurants, and theme parks for children. And it's a very favorite destination for a lot of people from the Middle East.
Your Excellency, also we know that there is some animals that just known only in Australia. One of them is kangaroos. And one of the things that we would like to know more about is the rare animals that really cannot find anywhere else except in Australia. So can you tell us more about these animals?
Yes, so kangaroos are an iconic Australian animal. They are on our coat of arms, along with the emu, which resembles an ostrich. It's adapted very well to life in modern Australia. It lives in grasslands and it covers the territory very quickly by jumping very quickly. It's a marsupial, which means that it has a pouch and it feeds its young from just above the pouch, but it can carry its young, called the joey, inside the pouch, and it will jump with the joey inside the pouch. And sometimes, you know, if you go to Canberra, our capital, you can see kangaroos close to the city, and you'll see them sometimes carrying the joeys in their pouches. But it's not the only animal with a pouch. We have you know, koalas. We have you know, a platypus. We have possums. These are all animals that exist only in Australia. We have many unique species of birds. We have cockatoos and kookaburras that make unique sounds.
The wildlife of Australia is rich, really, so that it becomes one of the things that attract the tourists to go to Australia, to see this wildlife?
That's right, exactly. So there are zoos in Sydney and Melbourne where you can see them. You have to be a little bit lucky to see them in the wild, except in Canberra, of course. They, you know, we call Canberra the bush capital, which means the wildlife is actually in the city. In the other cities, maybe a little bit less. But we have many opportunities for tourists to see the animals in Australia.
Your Excellency, I would like to know also about the role of women in Australia. Can you speak about this, please?
Yes, so women are involved in every aspect of society in Australia, and it starts with our parliament. In the governing party, over half of the members of parliament are women. The Governor General is a woman as well. The Foreign Minister is a woman, and very many other ministers as well, including one Egyptian minister, the Minister for International Development, Anne Ali. She was born in Egypt. But the role of women extends to the private sector, and we have a full involvement of women in all aspects of society. They work in all professions.
Your Excellency, the music play a big role in the Australian people's life, and we heard also that there's lots of festivals that's held over there in the country. So can we talk about this section?
So Australia's music scene is very diverse. We have all kinds of genres, from rock music to opera. Rock music, we've had a lot of famous bands in the past. You know, In Excess is probably the most famous one, on the world level. We have a composer that is composing music now. We've had famous opera singers who've performed all around the world. We have even an Arabic oud player, Joseph Tawadros. He was born in Egypt. He's Australian, and he composes and plays the oud. So any kind of music you can imagine, we have in Australia, and this is because Australia is a diverse society which has people coming from all over the world. But I should also mention there are Aboriginal bands as well that draw on indigenous instruments like the didgeridoo and sticks. So all kinds of different music. And as you said, Australia is a country where its people really enjoy listening to music.
Is there any major festivals in Australia?
Well, there is the Woodford Folk Festival that I know about. That's the main one, but we have a lot of touring bands as well. So we have a live music scene. So in many cities you can go to a stadium or a pub and you can watch a band play live. So it's this is the way people listen to music in Australia, as well as on the radio, of course.
Your Excellency, all of this diverse, does it reflect on the trading? We'd like to know more about the trading sector in Australia.
So Australia is a big trading country. We have our main exports are in minerals, so coal and iron ore are the two biggest, but we also export a lot of alumina. We have critical minerals, which we're not exporting so much at the moment, but this will be a big sector in the future. We are very strong in agriculture. We grow much more than we eat ourselves, so we export a lot of wheat, beef and lamb, all kinds of vegetables and fruit. Really, Australia depends on trade for its economy. We export all over the world, and we do it mainly by sea. We have ships going between Australia and the rest of the world, every day. So a lot of trade between Australia and the Middle East as well, and Egypt, and the trade relationship is very healthy.
That's good. What about the Australian cuisine and the main dish?
So Australian cuisine, again, is very diverse, reflecting the diversity of the Australian people, but there are a few dishes that are unique to Australia. So we have a cake which is called pavlova, which is made mainly from egg whites and strawberries. It's very delicious. We have lamingtons, which are a kind of sponge cake with jam in the middle. We have a biscuit called Tim Tams, which are a little bit crunchy, but mainly made of chocolate. And we have Vegemite, which is a very favorite spread on our toast in the morning for breakfast. It's a byproduct of the beer making process, and it's black and salty, and we find it very delicious. So these are the main Australian types of cuisine.
That's great. Your Excellency, allow me to stop our interview in this point, and we'll have another episode because our time is finished for now. And please allow me to have another episode to talk about the relations between Egypt and Australia.
That will be my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
مشاهدينا في كل مكان، وبكده انتهى لقائنا مع سعادة السفير الدكتور اكسل وابنهورست، سفير دولة استراليا لدى جمهورية مصر العربية.